Recorded live in Austin, Texas, USA. It's the William Montgomery Show. Starring William Montgomery. With the Tony Chin Orchestra. The William Montgomery Jr. Dancers. As always, William is joined by the lovely Erica. I'm Brett Erickson. And now, here he is, the big red machine, William Montgomery.
Brad, Erica, so nice to see y'all.
It's good to see you guys. How
I
you
know,
doing, man?
Doing pretty good. I learned from last week not wearing the green shirt, so put this white one on.
That's a pretty snazzy little buckaroo shirt, buddy.
Thank you. I got it at a thrift store. I feel like it really brings out my pink skin underneath. I look like a little pig.
That's not an undershirt. That's your actual body under there.
A salmon-colored undershirt. Salmon color, that's kind of like a pink color.
Salmon is definitely a pink.
Gosh,
right?
I wish I had a salmon color undershirt. When I was just TTing in there, it made me think, Brett, do you have a shy bladder?
Nah, I don't know. Not overly shy. I think average shy.
Really?
Yeah. Like I could pee next to you, but I probably couldn't pee next to a black guy.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? I could be nervous. I'd be nervous.
Yeah. Oh, no way I could.
But a white guy, I'm like, I can do it. And this, I'm comfortable among people my own.
Do you
for
guys
sure.
peep at each other?
Always.
Okay.
Do you? I'm trying to think if I do. Maybe I do.
You
every
do,
single
but I
time.
mean, I don't really anymore because now I no longer care about anything.
Yeah.
That's just in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, back in the day, you used to give the old.
Oh, really?
But you could never move your head, you know. Anybody, if there's any
Yeah.
head turn, busted.
I know, and that's a bad thing to get busted doing. I mean, do you?
Didn't you and Michael take a little look-see next to each other one time?
Yeah, I peed with Michael. I was doing
Michael
cocaine
Lear?
with Michael Lear in the Comedy Store bathroom, and we were doing that in TT, and then we compared what our penises looked like. It was weird. I felt weird doing it, but we totally did it. We had to do it.
Uh-huh.
We
That's
did
good.
it. Yeah, kind of similar.
Really?
If I remember correctly, kind of
Nice.
similar. Yeah. It was
Both-
sweet.
You're both circumcised? Or
Yes.
not?
Are you?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Grant, do you have extra skin on your penis or not?
I do not.
And Grant, this is his idea to give me this earpiece so I can hear him better.
You look like you're going to be getting like breaking news.
Is it working?
Yeah, Grant, give me some kind of news or something. And then I can act like I'm here, like I'm a news person.
Breaking news. Circumcisions are at an all-time low.
Oh, my God. Is that true?
You're supposed to say,
Yeah,
this
hold
just
on.
in.
Yeah, right. I really messed that up because Grant did that so funny. This just in, circumcisions are on the decline.
Nailed it.
Yeah, pretty close. You
Yeah,
got a
that was
real-
close.
You got a real future.
Thank you so much. What did you say, Brett?
Breaking. My bladder is averagely shy.
This just in, Brett's bladder is averagely shy.
It didn't make any sense. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I remember there have been times I have TT'd in the bathroom and I've had to pretend like I peed, but I didn't because I couldn't do it and I'd still have to flush the toilet and I always felt like a crazy person.
Is that, you mean like in a stall even?
Not even in a, no, not a
Like
stall.
a urinal?
A urinal. I remember there have been a couple times where I just couldn't do it even though I had to pee so bad.
Really?
And I had to
See,
flush the toilet because I was like, these people are going to know I wasn't peeing. They probably didn't hear anything. I have to flush it.
And then what? You have to go back out and come back in when there's no one in there?
Yeah, I have to stand by the it happened to the library a couple times. I have to go stand by the books and watch for the people to walk out and then walk back in. It's embarrassing. I don't know why that is.
Not
I
a
don't
good way to live.
What do you mean it's not a good way to live?
Pretending that you're peeing and still flushing it even though you didn't, and waiting for them to get out of there so you can.
Well, people are gonna know if I don't flush. They're really gonna know.
Yeah.
And then that would just
Then they're
be
gonna
horrifying.
talk.
Yeah, then they're gonna talk about it.
Tell the other library patrons.
Yeah, you see that redheaded guy? He's not actually peeing in the stall.
It's a fake peer. He's doing something in there.
God.
Why is he even in there if he's not
what's he
peeing?
doing?
What is he doing?
And then he watches us from the stacks, and God. Yeah, it was embarrassing. It was horrible. I hated it.
Yeah, maybe all that stuff will go away now that we're, kind of transitioning to genderless bathrooms where everyone will get their own stall.
I know.
You don't have to pee next to somebody.
Have you been in that gender at the creek?
Creek and
bathroom?
cave, yeah, absolutely.
There's no way I can pee in front of some girl right there.
Well, they're not
We
standing...
went together and peed together.
Well, we do that all the time. There's something.
Yeah, but last week you told us that you'd look at each other's buttholes. So I think peeing is next to each other.
There's this thing where
easy at that point.
We'll do it at the Randall's bathroom where she will sit down and TT and open up her legs, and then I'll pee in between her legs. At the same time. We've done that a couple times at the grocery store bathroom.
That was at the Ralphs when we would be so drunk.
Just peeing in her legs, and then I'd pee on her son.
That is trust. Erica, that's a lot of trust. I'm positive.
Like I'd do a karate chop in the stream and you'd get mad.
Yeah, because I would tell her that the pee would suck back up into my thing and it would hurt if something stops the stream.
I never
You guys
did it,
are
but I would,
freaks.
But I'd pretend like I'd do it, like I was going to.
Yeah, it'd be bullshit. Because
Yeah,
I told you it hurts. It sucks back into your thing. If you mess the stream up, it's totally painful.
But if you're in the danger zone, it seems like to me that if you're going to do a fake karate chop and get him all wobbly and jiggly, you're the one who's going to end up with
TT all over you.
You wash your hands.
What do you call it?
P?
P? Have you ever said TT?
No.
He says TT.
TT. I remember that growing up. It was called TT. I have to TT. Grant, what do you say?
I guess I just go with the classic P.
This just in. Grant calls it P.
See, you're getting it, bro.
Ooh.
You're dialing it in.
Yeah, just I don't know. It's nightmarish, but we'll probably get through it. So your son is visiting?
Yeah, my son Zach is visiting Austin for a couple days. It's very exciting. We went to a show last night. We saw a band.
Who'd y'all see?
We saw this band called Goose.
What kind of music does Goose play?
They're a jam band.
Oh, cool.
Oh, they're great.
That's fun.
They're great. And they're playing this little venue here, outdoor venue called the Scoot Inn, which is just a little bar on 6th. Cool. And so you're right there. It was a beautiful night. You know, it was fun, man. Great band. Had a little chocolate mushroom.
I was about to ask. I was thinking in my head. I was about to ask if y'all did mushrooms or anything. Kind of kidding around, but maybe that would be perfect. How was it?
Great. It was great. But because I had obligations today doing this podcast, we couldn't get too wild.
That's funny. What, did your son have it or did you have it?
No, his friend. He's got a friend that he grew up with that lives here in Austin, and he joined us, and he had some.
How is it?
But we're going back tonight, so I got a big bag of mushrooms at home. We're gonna get.
Oh, really?
We're gonna get a little wilder tonight.
Can we go with y'all?
Sure, come on.
At the Scoot Inn?
Yeah, yeah.
That could be fun.
Yeah, we'll have to find you some tickets.
Yeah,
it's a good show, man. Goose is a good band. They're like a true jam band. Like I like that music, but I forgot. Like, it's like that's why they call it a jam band. Like they just were ripping. And it was like I'm waiting for this song to end.
Yeah,
and it just keeps going, and you're like, I'm freaking out.
That's funny.
I had a blast. I loved it, man.
Cool. How is that? Hold on. Is that what Goose looked like?
Yeah, put
Grant
him back
just
up
had
there.
it. That's Goose.
They're blowing up right now, man. They're doing good things.
Wait, Brett, how is
There
it?
you go.
How is it tripping? What'd you just fucking say? Why'd you just interrupt what's going on in here? It was going all right. Grant, what? Huh?
I'm
This
sorry, I
just
went back
in.
to Goose.
Grant's fucking it up.
Yeah, Grant's fired. This just in. Grant, you're off the show. Where's Mike? I have been wondering where Mike is. Is he all right?
Never coming back. Look, that's it. He shut it down.
Oh, no.
Grant's shutting it all
Hey,
down.
Grant, I was totally kidding.
He's turning the lights off in here.
We're back.
Ooh. Yeah, I was totally kidding. Grant.
I was kidding too. I'm sorry.
You were kidding?
See?
Yeah, just jokes.
Oh, man.
That's a relief. Yeah, I knew you were kidding. I assumed you were kidding. Grant, would you ever trip with your son?
It sounds like a blast.
Yeah, hold on. I was about to ask, how is that? Is that fun, kind of? I can't
fun.
imagine tripping with Larry. That's what I immediately think. I think that's pretty cool. Like, I feel like I'd be open to it. I just don't know
Yeah.
if it ever happened.
Do you think your dad's ever done psychedelics?
No, I don't think at all.
No.
I think he maybe smoked weed a little bit. That's what he says. I don't know.
Yeah. The first time I did LSD with my son, we were at a music festival.
How
And
long
I-
ago was this?
A couple years ago. He's 28 years old, by the way, everyone. So it's not like I've got my 12-year-old and I'm
I know. I was picturing him being like 18 right now, and I was doing the math. I was like, so he was 15 years old.
He was probably in his early 20s when this story happened. But we were at a music festival, and my buddy Josh and I, and Zach, my son, we each got one of those sweet tarts that has like the drop of acid on it. And we're like, oh, this will be fun. Like, do some acid, LSD with my son. I'll kind of shepherd him through the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, that's fun.
And
yeah.
and we take it and we go to this show, and this group that we're seeing is called EOTO.
I think I've heard of them.
EOTO. It's two guys from String Cheese Incident, and they just make up songs as they go along. And they do that loop thing where, like, the guy will pick up a bass and he'll play like a bass thing, and then he hits a button and that loops, and he puts the bass down, and he grabs the guitar. So they build these two guys. They build these songs that just get more and more elaborate and crazy as they go.
That's
And
fun.
it was wild, right? And I was freaking out, man.
Were you?
It started to hit me, and I was like, the songs were crazy, and the lights were nuts, and I'm like, oh, shit,
And you're
man, I'm
standing
freaking
next to
out.
your son.
And I looked over at my friend Josh, and his eyes were wide, and he was like, oh, shit. And then we just started holding on to each other. We're like, what the fuck's going on, man? I can't handle it. And I looked over at my son, and he's just like, yeah, cool. This is
Oh,
great."
that's cool.
Yeah, it ended up that he had to, like, get the two of us back to our camp. Like, we were jelly. We couldn't move.
Yeah,
we were
that's-
afraid to move. We were afraid to walk. He's like, come on, Dad, let's go. Get us.
Oh, my gosh.
He got us back safely. So I didn't shepherd him through the experience.
That's kind of funny. It was
At
the other
all.
way around.
And then
Isn't that kind of fun?
Yeah.
on the way back to the camp, we're walking, and, like, I'm trying to, reality's crashing around me.
Yeah.
Constantly. And all of a sudden, I'm walking through this sea of people, and all of a sudden, right in front of me, walks a guy with a trombone. Just like, and I was like, was that real? And then coming this way, just when I decided that it probably was a hallucination, coming across this way was a guy with a trumpet. Like,
So there's a band
and then a guy with some drums came this way, and it turned out we were in the middle of, like, a flash mob
Oh gosh.
Oh, gosh.
that was forming as we were walking through it for this band called March 4th, which is like a marching band that plays festivals.
That's
So they
fun.
were all doing a little thing, and we ended up in the middle of it, freaking out on LSD
awful.
at the same time. My son had to grab me by the shoulder, like, "Come on, Dad, let's go." you
Oh, my
idiot."
gosh. Was that kind of weird that you were tripping and then your son was helping you out? Was that just that in and of itself kind of a strange thing, or not really?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
Not
Yeah, it
that
was
you're the one who should have been helping Ebelt, but I don't know. Yeah,
Well,
I always think all crazy.
That's
kind of
when, that's when I found out that he had done a lot more LSD than I had thought.
Right.
So, some stories were told that day, and he came clean about some stuff. And turns out he had experience I was unaware of. So
That's funny.
yeah, he got us back though. Without him, we'd have been fucked. I'd still be out there. You know?
Yeah, would you still just be?
I was a mess, dude. I couldn't hold it together.
That's scary big on that shit. I remember doing a couple of these mushroom tablets, and then we went to the
City Walk?
Universal Studios, and it was cold outside, and I had a short sleeve shirt on, and it was just horrible. And I remember going back to Reseda, laying on the bed, just like, I think I've finally gone crazy. This is awful, which is the worst thing to think. I was like, I finally fucking lost it. This is horrible. It's like, I hope somebody hides these knives around here. I'm about to start hacking people up.
You're like Benicio del Toro. If you're in Loathing, you're in the tub, you've got a giant cutting cantaloupes with a giant butcher knife.
I know, horribly scary.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Sometimes you feel like it's never going down. Now you just got to plant it into your brain that this is just the effects, temporary effects, and that it will get better. Ride it out, bro.
I know. We need to do that sometime on here. Grant, would you do some LSD with us?
Do you want me to just be like your Sherpa while you guys do LSD?
I don't know. You wouldn't do it with us?
I suppose I could.
Have you ever done it?
No.
You think you'd freak out?
I don't know how the production of the show will go.
It'll go great, dude.
Yeah.
Grant would travel to like Star Trek.
Yeah, something nerdy.
Well, that could be fun. Y'all love Star Trek. You love Star Trek.
Big fan.
And also, I want to give a quick shout out to Signature Select, Soleil, and Caffeine. Is that how you say that? Soleil?
Sure.
Soleil. I'm addicted to these fucking things now, and I'm peeing all the time. I'm worried I have diabetes. Because don't you pee a bunch if you have diabetes?
Well, I mean, I think that we've talked about this before.
He's
Yes,
pounding down
but
the
if you drink 64 ounces of caffeinated drink in an hour, you're going to pee a lot.
That's what I was thinking that the other night. I was like, well, William, you might have diabetes. Or I was like, dude, you just drank 2 carafes of soda water in the past hour. It's probably just all the liquid. So I was able to calm down a little bit.
I think you'll be all right.
God, I hope so, because I've been eating a bunch of Snickers and candy bars. And not really. Bunch of Eggo waffles, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's good with some butter and the syrup. Got some Mrs. Buttersworth.
I like Eggos.
Eggos are really good.
I'm more of a pancake guy, though, than a waffle guy, honestly.
You are?
Yeah.
Do you like blueberry pancakes?
I do. I'm good at making pancakes, so I make pancakes at home.
You have to teach us. We tried one time and they were pretty good, but it was like one at a time and each one was taking 10 minutes. And it's like, how do people do this? I'm sure we were doing something wrong, but yeah, it was like each one was 10 minutes long. And
you need a big skillet, an electric skillet or something like that where you have a whole surface.
A griddle.
Yeah, we needed that because it was a small thing.
You're just doing a pan, then you pretty much got to do them one at a time. Then
It's like, how do people fucking do this? How are people eating these things when they're warm? How do people eat this when it's? How's it still warm?
Well, you could turn your oven on like to a low temperature, and then when you get one done, pop it in and just let it stay toasty in there.
Ooh. We need to do that. I need to write that down. We need to do that next time.
Let's do it. Let's get a bunch of LSD. We'll get LSD and pancake mix. We'll go crazy.
We have to. Grant, you're going to show up. You can bring Mike.
Mike's not coming, dude. There's no way.
Yeah, what's the deal with...
We'll never see Mike again.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever see... Grant is pretty good. Look at that. Look at those pancakes.
That looks pretty good.
I had put waffles up initially, and I was trying to quickly scramble to get the pancakes.
Yeah, I saw the waffles, and then I started getting horrified because we started talking about pancakes, and I almost said something. So I'm glad you were able to get that up pretty quick because that's a good looking pan. That's a good short stack.
That is a good stack.
Yeah, that couldn't be a short stack. What's a short stack? Like maybe 3 of them?
Waffles are good, though, because they have the little syrup reservoirs in there where they just fill right up. Boy, that's good.
The syrup reservoir. I know, and you get a little butter in that reservoir.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! I love it. Yeah, we have been using maple syrup, but Mrs. Buttersworth, I know that's what? That's not really maple syrup, is it? Just has a bunch of, I don't know. It's really
Probably
good, though.
not. Yeah.
It's real good, though.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. What's that little noise?
That was fun.
Grant, what's going on back there?
Are you expecting someone calling in?
Did your dad text you?
Was somebody really calling in?
Yeah, via Skype, I guess.
Nice. They're
There
calling
it
back.
is. Do you want to see who it is?
Yeah, let's see who it is. Let's talk to him.
Answer it.
Hello?
Grant, is that you? Or are you pretending like you're calling in? Were you saying
Who
hello
is
to...
it?
Grant, what have you done here?
I'm
Oh,
sorry,
man.
that is a complete bust. I don't even know what's going on.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I wonder if that's somebody like outside of here with a gun or something.
Stop.
Oh, Jesus.
Ooh, dude, lock the doors,
So do
Grant.
you think that
me go lock
an
the doors.
active shooter is going to call you on Skype?
I was thinking the same thing.
Grant, lock the doors, please.
Is this that movie Scream?
I don't get that
I
reference.
don't get it either.
Hold on, Grant. How is Mike doing? Why? What is there? Is there a beef there? What's going on? Or is he doing his job right now? What's happening?
Mike is at his daytime job.
Well, how were we able to see him at the beginning and now he's just disappeared?
We would never come on this day.
I don't know.
We used to do Wednesdays, Dave and Buster Wednesdays.
Yeah, Dave and Buster Wednesdays.
The behind the scenes isn't as exciting as you guys might think. It's more that like my kids are now going to school, so I'm able to cover these shifts a little bit better than he is. And so
How are your kids? Are they fast learners?
They're like, as far as doing this production, like put them to work at this.
No, your children.
Yes, yeah, they're smart. I
Cool.
think they're smart.
It's kind of a weird flex.
Yeah,
So when people say weird flex, I don't even know what that means.
my kids are brilliant.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. Can you bring them in sometime?
Interns.
Yeah.
This just in. Grant has genius babies.
Not on LSD day, I think, but maybe.
No,
a
you
different
could
day.
bring them in then.
How old are your kids, Grant?
They're 6 and 8.
Yeah, they should see you tripping balls, man.
It's
They have
gonna
a
be.
different vision of dad.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Dad's a
vision.
jellyfish.
Yeah, think about it, Grant. At least think about it.
Okay,
Promise me that, please. Promise us that.
I think I've thought about it now. Check.
Okay, you're getting a little too funny back there.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's not cool, man.
Oh my
So what have you been up to, man? What have you guys been doing?
We went to Houston for the first time.
Oh yeah, I went to Houston this past weekend. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was fun. I had to.
He was on a festival.
Yeah, I did the
comedy
Skank
festival.
Fest thing.
Skankfest is fun.
Yeah, it was fun. There were a lot of people there.
We drank a lot of canned water.
Yeah, I was peeing a ton there in the porta potties.
I'm into this canned water
The
thing.
liquid death.
Liquid Death. I had one last night at the Goose Show.
Ooh.
Did you really?
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, it seems good. It's almost like in my fantasy world, I'm drinking a beer.
Someone told me that that's owned by the Metalocalypse guy.
Oh, is that why it's like metal?
Brendan Small, I think his name is. Very
What is
funny
that, a
guy.
show?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a cartoon that
So
used to
good.
be on
Adult Swim.
Adult Swim.
Adult Swim. It's about that metal band, or
Yeah, I can picture
the
that.
Metalocalypse.
I like
He's a
it.
funny
That's cool.
guy.
It's a good show.
I used to watch him at the Hyperion Theater in L.A. He did a show with Brendan Walsh for a while that was very, very funny
Was it?
until it got ruined.
What happened?
Well,
Where does he begin?
Brendan.
Where do you-
There was a moment when Brendan Walsh was canceled
What do you do?
because he supposedly was disrespectful to a female, but he wasn't, and everything that he said, it was said in the context of the character he was playing on the show, because on the show it was called The Two Brendans, Brentuden it was called.
That's fun.
It was the two of them basically doing like who are the two ladies at the end of Good Morning America when they're just like wine drunk? Like Hoda.
What's her name?
Hoda.
Hoda. Hoda Kotb.
and yeah,
Regis
Hoda,
and what's her
Kathy
name?
Lee.
There you go.
It was like
Yeah.
that. So Brendan Small and Brendan Walsh would be like those two guys hosting like a show.
That's fun.
And they would just be stupid, and Brendan would say dumb things, and he said a dumb thing about this girl that he was woman that he was introducing, and then
What do you say? What do you say to your?
I don't remember what he said, but it was something that she then said, "Hey, this is wrong. My comedy shouldn't be viewed through this."
Oh, was it
It
a
was-
comedian?
It was a comedian.
And,
He was introducing her to do her
What was
stand-up
her name?
set. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember.
Yeah.
But it sounded like it was one of those things where the quote was terrible.
Yeah.
It was something like, "Check out the cans on this, next
Oh, this
act."
bitch.
Yeah. And then, anyway, it all was eventually sorted
serious.
out once people realized that it was in the context of a character he was doing inside of a comedy show. It was completely ridiculous.
People are crazy.
I
bet she
but
probably
at
has
that point, the show was canceled by the Hyperion Theater, and it's a shame
Aw.
because it was very, very funny.
Cool. I bet
So-
she probably has to not have anybody in the bathroom when she TTs. Think she has a shy bladder?
Probably.
I guess women
We
probably
have
don't.
stalls
Y'all
when we
have
sit
stalls.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, in a stall I can normally pee, but if it's standing with the people,
Mhm.
it's a no-go.
You also don't whip anything out. You just sit down.
Yeah. Whip anything out.
Oh, William
You-
got some cool undies where you put the balls in a sack and there's a hole for his wiener.
Yeah, I met the what is that place called? I can't remember what it's called. I don't know. Yeah.
You got some new underwear?
He
We've
met
reached-
an underwear CEO.
Yeah, he was walking around giving away his underwear.
at Skankfest?
Yeah.
And he's like, "What are you, a large?"
it
And
the s-
William's like, "What?"
Is it the stage man guy? Are they stage mans?
No, it's God, I hope that guy doesn't watch this. This is bad. No, I can't think of his name. What is the thing called?
I don't know.
There we go.
But no, I was thinking my thing, it was like a hole where your thing goes and then a pouch for your balls, and I was like,
And
I
he
don't
kept
think
holding them. He's like, "You have to have a big dick to wear these."
I was like, there's no way. My thing would my thing's not going in the hole and the balls in the sack. I was like, I would just wear these like normal, but it would have this weird thing on the front.
That's what the stage man underwear are like that.
Is it?
Yeah. They're the most comfortable underwear I've ever worn in my life.
Oh my gosh.
I
Are
got
they
them.
really?
Try them out.
I
Yeah.
should try them out.
Because it looks like, it looks like they're made for guys with just huge dicks.
Yeah, that's what it
But-
appeared.
But what ends up happening is that you're just super comfortable because
Yeah.
your dick and balls are just like supported on a nice little
In the little
comfy
pouch.
nest,
I know I saw the
and
little
nothing
pouch.
smashing them down.
Yeah.
Like for years we've worn underwear. Like you asked me, like I didn't used to wear underwear. That was why, because I just didn't like having something just
Yeah.
smashing my dick down.
For sure. Yeah, I mean it looks comfortable. It's
But
a
when
nice
you
little
wear
pouch.
them, if you wear them by yourself, you look like an absolute fool. Like if you just have those on walking around, you look like
I'm
an idiot.
sure,
You
right.
have to
Right.
But they're
Try
really
'em on.
comfortable.
It seems like you could wear those if you were selling drugs.
I sent it. I was like, "Let me ask my gays if they've seen anything like this." And then one of them said, "I think that's where you hide drugs."
And it seemed perfect for that if you had a
Oh,
bunch
they
of little
would know,
baggies or
too.
something.
They know because the gays get the best drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
The
how you said
poppers.
your gays that
My
you
gays.
called.
Mhm.
I met the one of them down in Miami. He and his boyfriend.
You've
I
met them
partied
all.
with the
boyfriend.
boyfriend.
Yeah.
They drank a bottle of tequila, and we had a flight in like 5 hours.
Ooh, it was horrible. Got to the fucking airport, and then there's that when it was
I
all.
think we laid down for 15 minutes.
That was horrible. Waking up from that, doing drugs, drinking a ton, and then having to go to the airport, and then I think it was delayed.
The
second one.
6 hours we were delayed, and we were exhausted
At the airport for the whole 6?
at the Phoenix
yeah,
airport.
at the Phoenix
Ugh.
airport. It was
It
horrible.
was awful.
Yeah, that's no good. The whole airport experience is just garbage. Anytime I can avoid flying, I do it. The only advantage to flying is the time you save on the trip.
Mhm.
But anytime if you have to go through LAX, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole day.
It's a 2-hour, 3-hour process.
Do you think you could live in the airport?
I
Don't
would
some
love
people live in the
to.
airport? You could probably get away with it for a while.
Yeah, wasn't that
People
a
would think
movie?
you're traveling.
Tom
yeah,
Hanks
Tom
movie?
Hanks.
Yeah.
What is that movie called?
I could live in the airport if they
The
would
terminal.
keep
The Terminal.
the
I've never
places
seen it. I
open.
want to watch it.
This just in. It's called The Terminal.
You're getting it.
I'm really slowly getting it. It's just all I've been thinking about hearing us talk. I only hear it through this now, and now my center of gravity is off.
Yeah, you're sitting kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, what'd you do to this chair?
It's the thing.
Yeah, it's pulling my head over. Look at it. It looks like it's totally pulling my fucking head over.
You're gonna have earbud neck. You have to go to the chiropractor. What happened? Grant made me wear this.
Yeah, this fucking thing.
This just in. Grant fucked up my back.
Yeah, this just in. What were you thinking, Grant?
I'm sorry about the earbud.
I'm glad he just responded. I thought he was sleeping back there again.
Nope, I'm on it.
Okay, I'm kidding. I wonder who was calling in.
It's a mystery.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll call back later.
Ooh, yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Yeah, I thought it was you just goofing around because I heard you say hello, but I guess you were trying to talk to the person.
Yeah, I was trying to talk to them. I wasn't going to try and...
You thought he was
impersonate him.
pretending to be the person on the other end of the line using his regular voice.
Yeah, I was like, this seems weird. That's what I was thinking to myself.
Just like Grant.
Yeah, this is a little weird. This is weird.
So you went to Houston. Did you have any good? Did you go to eat any good food there?
Papado.
Ate at Papado.
What's that?
We love a chain restaurant. It's a chain seafood restaurant. They have them here as
Ooh.
well. But we just
Yeah,
had
it's pretty good.
Ooh.
Had a for an appetizer. Had the seafood
fondue.
It was like a cheesy seafood
Oh
soup.
man!
With a big-
Back when I lived in Peoria, Illinois.
How was it up there?
Oh, it's just like it sounds.
Yeah, how's
Picture-
the seafood
picture
in
what
the
you-
middle of the country?
Picture what you think Peoria, Illinois looks and feels like,
Yeah.
and you're right. But my lovely pal Carrie Mitchell and I would go to the Red Lobster on University. Oh,
nice.
That's the good one. And we would get the ultimate fondue.
Ooh.
What's in that?
The ultimate fondue at Red Lobster would have like crab meat and cheese in it, and it would come in a giant bread bowl. So you would dip your
yum.
Cheddar Bay biscuits into the fondue, eat all of them, and then hack up the bread bowl at the end. It's been soaking in
Love
that.
it.
Yum.
Oh man, it's like 9,000 calories
Oh,
for
yeah, I
sure.
bet.
Yeah, I was thinking that's
I mean,
probably a lot.
you couldn't even walk out of there when you're done. We were such monsters.
Papado, there it is.
Oh, that looks pretty good.
It was cool in there too. I liked
It was
it.
pretty. Yeah, the temperature was
What'd you
literally kind of cold in there.
What'd you guys get? What do you get? The Papado.
Well, we got that app, and we got. What did you get?
I got
Salmon.
I got a salmon with some other seafood on top.
Did you compare
pretty
the
good.
color of the salmon to your skin?
I did. It was actually. It
similar.
was really similar this time. Yeah, I like it when it is the color of my skin.
Like they're like, "How would you like that salmon cooked, sir?" And you just rip open your shirt.
Look at my fucking stomach. I want it like this. Does it look as pink in real life?
No, you're
Oh,
all
it's
right.
Pretty white.
Yeah.
What do you think, Grant?
It's kind of pink.
What is?
Your tummy?
Oh, your tummy.
My tummy.
Your man's stomach? Sorry.
No, I like tummy better.
He likes tummy.
Your tum tum.
My tum-tum. So you think it's only a little pink, Grant?
Just a little pink.
Okay. That's pretty sweet. Oh, my tummy. Cool. Well, thank you, Grant.
You're welcome. I have two little kids, so I say tummy.
William says tummy too. He is a little kid.
No, I'm not. And Eric has been saying that a bunch recently. Oh, I'm a little kid.
He's just a
I don't know
little
why you
kid.
say that all the time. I don't know why you have to.
He's like a
She
little
says it all the
baby.
time. They say, "No, I'm not."
Well, he's got you there.
He says,
No, I'm not.
I am not. I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah. Ugh.
The old reverse Zabidad.
Yep. The old reverse what?
Zabidad.
What's that?
It's the old, it's when you throw it back at him.
he threw it back at me.
That's cool. I didn't know that phrase, but yeah, I would totally. Throw it back at her. I don't know. It's kind of constant.
All I said is you drink milk with every meal like a little kid.
You do drink milk with every meal?
He'll be any
Yeah, a
meal.
lot
He'll
of
be
them.
like, "Oh, milk is so good with spaghetti, a hamburger. Oh, milk is so good with a hamburger."
Wait a minute. So you're eating milk and spaghetti.
Oh,
It's good. Some cold milk with a hot bowl of spaghetti.
That does sound delicious. But it is very, that's like from the kids menu.
Yeah, I feel
Kind
like little
of.
kids
Yeah,
drink
spaghetti
milk.
and milk.
Spaghetti and milk, a little apple slice.
Yeah, it's delicious. I've
Then-
been up in the milk again.
Yeah, what kind of milk? Do you do the whole milk?
Skim.
I've been doing
Skim.
skim.
All right.
That's what we grew up drinking. There was
Mhm.
always a bunch of milk around.
Yeah, of course.
What kind of milk do you drink? Do you drink milk?
I don't really drink milk anymore. No, not really. A little bit of oat milk in my. I use oat milk when I make my pancakes.
Ooh, I wonder
Recipe
how that
says
tastes.
water, but I use milk.
We were doing oat
That's
milk
probably
with
good.
oatmeal.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's
Yep,
pretty
yep.
good.
yeah.
Oat milk, and there's the pancake picture again.
Yeah.
These look like really good pancakes.
Mhm.
Brett, please, you got to show
yeah,
us how
we'll
to
do it.
make them.
We'll do it. We'll get you over. We'll do
Yeah.
a pancake
I
party.
want pancake party.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
sounds good. Chocolate chip pancakes with a glass of milk.
We'll go see.
Woo.
We'll go see Goose tonight.
We
eat a-
should. I would like that. It would be fun.
We'll eat it because they're playing again tonight at the Scoot Inn. We're going, so we'll go there. We'll eat a bunch of mushrooms. We'll howl at the moon.
So you really have a bunch of mushrooms?
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
And then tomorrow morning we'll just
Go to IHOP.
no. I'll make a bunch of banana and chocolate chip pancakes. That's my specialty.
Ooh, really? You
Mhm.
put walnuts in there?
Nope. I could though if you wanted.
Not necessarily. I was just
I do have
thinking what all goes in that.
Usually it's just bananas and chocolate chips. That's my two go-tos.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Does your son like them?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's not. It wasn't a big. Pancakes weren't a big thing when the kids were little. For
Yeah.
some reason, that became more of a later thing for me when I decided to just say fuck it and get fat. Just eat pancakes all the time.
Was there a point in time where you were just eating a bunch of pancakes?
Yeah, now.
Oh, really?
Current
Currently.
time.
Yeah.
How often are you eating them? Like in a week?
Maybe not quite once a week, but that's like a. It's like a Sunday kind of thing.
After you
Get
back
up
from
late.
church?
Yeah. Come back.
What do you mean get up late? I thought
I meant after I get back from praising the Lord.
Cool.
and
Yeah, some pancakes
Have
afterwards.
some pancakes with Jesus.
Cool. Is that what you do, Grant?
Absolutely.
You go to church, right?
No.
What do you mean no? Actually, I haven't been to church in a long time. It's
What do
been
you
a
mean?
while.
What
Yeah.
do you mean?
Huh?
Uh-oh. He pulled the old reverse Zabidad on
Yeah. What did you just say, Grant?
I'm sorry.
you. This just in. Grant's bringing the snark.
No, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, this just in, Grant. You have to fucking stop with that shit. Seriously, it's already throwing me fucking off wearing this goddamn thing in my right ear. It's pulling my neck. Look at me now, how weirdly hunched.
You look
I look
great.
so weird. And I told you I didn't want to have the screen on where I could see myself. I look
can't-
insane.
I can't tell if that's you or 2 stacks of pancakes.
I look like a stack of pancakes. Grant, what are you doing? Are you doing this on purpose? Making me look bad like this?
You look great. You have a great pink tummy.
Oh.
And then he gets you with the tummy
And
stuff.
then the tummy stuff.
And I did the thing that everyone does is I only looked at myself when I just looked up and realized that I've been slouching down like a 3rd grader for the entire time, I was like way down here. Hey.
But you talk like
Grown-ass
an older
man.
person. Yeah.
Yeah. Supposed to be sitting up and being a professional. This is a real podcast. God damn it.
Yeah, Grant, whatever. I know what you've been saying. I mean, regardless of what you think, this is a real fucking podcast, Grant.
You guys are doing great.
We know what you've been saying. It's gotten back to us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of you.
Yep. He's pulling that
Yeah,
parental
he's pulling-
bullshit on us.
Yeah, we know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
We know what's happening.
Let's do LSD together. It'll be okay.
You really want to? Erica has a ton of it. I'm kidding. I'm not supposed to say that, but I'm kidding. No, yeah, we have plenty.
It's in liquid form.
It's in liquid form. Hold on. Do the police see this? Is that dangerous to say? I think that was a bad
This
idea.
is all
It's
comedy.
not labeled.
Yeah, and we're just kidding.
We're
There's
just
not-
kidding. This is comedy.
Yeah.
None of this is actual.
Totally kidding.
I've never even eaten a pancake.
Only jokes.
Yeah, what are pancakes?
Don't know. No idea.
Hold on. We have to go to the show tonight, maybe,
We'll
though.
find a scalper or something.
How much were tickets? Were they expensive?
I don't even know because my son bought the tickets.
Well, that's sweet.
Yeah, that was his whole thing. He loves this band, so he's like, "Oh, these guys are
Oh,
coming."
does he?
And so he's been planning this for a while. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna come down and see you, and Goose will be there, so I'm coming then." So I'm like, "All right, let's do it."
Do you think your son and I would get along?
Yeah, he actually.
Yeah, I'm sure we would.
I
Yeah,
should have
yeah.
found this out. He works with somebody or knows somebody in Chicago that is the younger brother of one of your good friends that you knew from Memphis.
Sounds right.
That's funny.
Find out his name. I'll find out his name
I
before
wonder
the
who
show's
it
over.
was.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny.
Yeah, small world type shit.
I know. That is. I just heard.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
Are you in trouble?
No. That's my doctor. My doctor's calling me.
Why's your doctor
Okay,
calling
I'm
you?
getting a colonoscopy on Wednesday.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you ever had one before?
This is the first one.
Would they put you under, or they don't have to? They
Yeah,
do put you
Yeah,
under.
I think so, yeah.
Would they
put
do
me under.
stick some in your butt?
All the way up in there. Have a good
Like how far?
look around. Real far.
Cool.
What if you weren't asleep? Are some people not asleep when that happens?
I'm not sure. I mean,
you
maybe
scared?
you're just into it and you're like, yeah, go for it. But I think it's a pretty easy and painless procedure. The problem with it is that you have to be cleared out before you go in. So they give you some stuff to drink the day before,
It clears you
2
out.
days before, and then you just shit like crazy for, 18 hours or something like that.
Gosh, wait, why? If you didn't do that, would it just start coming out when they stuck the?
Yeah,
pole in
if
there?
you don't do that, sometimes they just won't even do it. They'll be like, sorry.
I wonder
you're
why.
canceled.
Doo doo comes out.
Too much. Doo-doo.
Well, not only does the doo-doo come out, but they can't. I think
Look at that
that
picture of doo doo. That's
think
a
those
weird
are-
picture.
I think the real issue becomes that they can't really see what they're trying to see.
Oh, I see.
Maybe I don't know.
That would make sense.
I
Well,
should
hopefully
go- I should
everything's
go-
fine. I'm sure it will be.
Got to do it when you get into
Gotta
your
do it.
50s, man. You got to get
Yeah.
that shit checked out. So I'm going in next week. I'll have a good story for the next podcast.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah. Well, hopefully everything's good.
Yeah, I should.
sure it will be.
I'm going to go call this guy and see what he needs me to do. We got a good guest coming in today, I think, right?
I know. Very excited. We have the great up and coming ventriloquist comedian. She's
It's going to be a
Also-
lot of fun.
Yeah,
Kill,
yeah.
Kill Tony fans will be excited when they see who the guest is when we
We
come
have
back after break.
Can't come running to my house.
This is 911. Do you have an emergency?
Chesterfield Emergency Service.
everyone. This is Amy O, the a good friend of mine, a stand-up comedian. She does some ventriloquist stuff. She's been to jail before.
Yes.
Is that true? That's what I've
A
heard.
few jails and just one prison.
A few jails and one prison. That'd be a good name for a book if you ever write a book.
I was
A
writing
few
a book.
jails
And,
and one prison.
I changed my my road from writing a book to doing comedy. So, because who wants to read a freaking book these days? You know?
Yeah, tell me about it. I
Especially
think that off.
shit like that. You got to make it funny, and people want to know.
Yeah. Ooh, look at Grant. He's real quick on the thing where it looks like we're in a prison now.
Oh, we're in the middle of a cell.
We're in the
It's
middle
like
of
one of those fake reality shows.
What do you call that? A cell block?
That actually would be a good cell block. That looks like a prison. Jails aren't generally that big.
Oh, is that big looking?
Amy, we know your story a little bit because we've met you at Kill Tony at Vulcan Gas a couple of times, and you're always a delight. But kind of give us just a brief recap of how you ended up in a few jails and one prison, because it's an amazing story and, frankly, a goddamn indictment on our society that all this happened to you.
Well, I'm going to back up a little bit. So it seems there's a complication in people's minds, the difference between jail and prison.
Uh-huh.
Jail is a place where most people are not yet sentenced. Few people are sentenced to time in a jail.
Uh-huh.
It would take a whole 2 podcasts to explain the structure of the difference between
No, you think
misdemeanor and felony and whatever.
We'll have to do a 2-parter.
Yes,
soon.
exactly. So what I'm going to do is kind of brief this is how you get from jail to prison.
Uh-huh.
And generally, a lot of the jails that I've done are for not paying speeding tickets.
Do you not pay your speeding
Yes,
tickets?
and when I lived
Do
in
you
Dallas-
speed a lot?
Well, not anymore. Since I'm a totally reformed person since prison, by the way. So we're going to talk in the past. In the past,
Okay.
I was well known for getting a lot of speeding tickets and a lot of fast cars that I owned because I was always trying to go get some drugs. Seriously.
Uh-huh.
In Dallas, I actually spent one time Super Bowl Sunday weekend in 3 different jails in the Dallas area. One, it started out, I was driving an RX-7. That was mine, and I was like 95 miles an hour, which makes you go straight to jail. And guess where I spent it?
Where?
The DFW airport has their own little jail. Did you know that?
Were you at the airport going 95 miles
I was going
an hour?
through the airport. Yeah.
Gosh.
And not at the airport.
Well-
It's a road. It's I think 183 or something.
She's on a runway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on the runway.
And yeah, they arrested me and found out I had 3 warrants of not paying speeding tickets. You know,
Oh, my
I'm a
gosh.
habitual speeding person, and
Yeah.
I was speeding to go get some crack, which probably was speed. But anyway, in the meantime,
Fair enough.
I spent I had a rock in this tooth. I'll never get filled because I kept the rock in this tooth the whole time I was in the jail.
Wait.
I already got my drugs.
We're going to go. We're
Well, wait
going
a
to
minute.
dial down on
I got
this.
the drugs in Dallas. I was driving to, at the time, I lived in Roanoke, which is right next to
Roanoke,
South
Virginia?
Southlake, which is Southlake is
No.
a very popular city in the Dallas area, if you don't know. But anyway, so lots of story. So anyway, so I'm driving through. I live in Roanoke. I have the rock already. I have it in my mouth. I spent the entire weekend going from jail to jail with this rock in my mouth.
Does it get you high?
No, it doesn't
Not while
dissolve
it's in-
without. Yeah, once it's rocked up, when it's real, I don't know what the shit is in the world today, but back then, this was in the late '80s, early '90s. Because I was arrested in '92, and
Was the crack pretty good back then?
well, what's good crack?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, I just
Is
know
some
that
better than other? I don't
okay,
know.
I guess it was as good as the government wanted it to be because it made me
Ooh.
eat
Yeah.
it all the time and do whatever I needed to get it. Because that was the whole reason why the government put it out there, just to control the masses. And that's a whole that is not a philosophy. That's a fact.
Yeah.
And so Snowfall is a great show and all that is. Oh, so in the meantime, I have teeth.
Hold on, wait. Can I see the hole in your tooth? Do you still
Right
have
here.
it?
I will never get that filled because this is a story and I'm trying to make
Oh,
a
so
joke
it's
out of it.
literally just the
Yeah, it's a missing tooth.
the missing
and I
tooth,
kept
and you put
I
it
kept
in
it
there.
in there, and I've tried to write a joke about this for about 3 years. It's in a whole bunch of my notebooks because I call the joke how crack turned me into a dentist. And no, that's not true. How crack turned me into a plumber. Because the worst thing, I just ruined the entire story by telling you I ended up being a plumber at the end of the story. But anyway, so I spend the time in all these jails, and my son's father picks me up after I do all my warrants for the weekend, and they are getting all these. I guess it was the judges that didn't watch the Super Bowl, did their little thing for me and gave me time served and whatever they did, and
Yeah.
gave them all the money I could, and hurried back to the house to smoke this crack, and I stand it over the sink, and it fell down.
Oh my
After all that
gosh.
time, that rock stayed with me.
Were you pissed off?
Oh, I was very pissed off.
Did you try to grab
what
it in the
happens
sink?
when you're really addicted to a drug and you're trying to get it or you can't get it or something like that happens, your entire body goes through like, I felt like I was flushing down the toilet. You know, like my whole body just washed over this horrible. So what did I do is get some pliers and open up the fucking drain.
Oh, nice.
And I swear to God, I found it in there. And I smoked that fucking thing. Now, if that wouldn't have put me into a rehab by then, but I didn't go to rehab. So anyway, that's how crack turned me into a plumber.
Damn.
But see, that's how I can't make it funny because it's such a long story.
I don't know.
got
You can
there.
figure it out. Yeah, you got there.
Well, where's the punchline? The punchline is I'm not really
beca-
a very good plumber, but I'm a really good crack smoker.
Yeah,
There you
I
go.
mean, like to the end, right? But anyway, so
that could be good. You talked about your husband earlier. There was a point in time where I heard he was after me a little bit. Is
I'm
he?
glad you changed that subject because I really don't like to talk about my past drug use. But my husband is a straight up 100% Narcotics Anonymous straight guy. He and I hope he doesn't mind. I tell since 5505 he's been clean, and we met sometime after that, and we.
So
met-
y'all never did drugs together.
Never.
Would that have been fun?
No, I hope that he never smokes weed or anything because I love that he stays clean. And I sometimes, I pretended I was too. And the worst thing about me getting back into being clean is lying to my husband and announcing it to everyone that I lied to my husband. But the good thing about my husband is his program is intact where it's not his fucking business. I'm lying to me first.
Fair enough.
So a person that really works a program knows it's not about the other people. It's about how you feel. And until I heard my voice on that episode where I was picking up the things off the ground and the Kill Tony, I thought I was getting away with drinking on the side and no one knew. But I sounded awful. So I quit.
What were you drinking that night?
I was always drinking shots of vodka straight up. I don't like to mess around with little shit.
Ooh.
Not messing around.
No. I'm
Yeah,
like
you
a
don't-
double shotter.
Double shot of vodka. How
I
many
like a-
double shots can you do?
Well, I was
'Cause you're a
doing
smaller
like about
lady.
6 a night. And, or not,
So
I mean,
that's
6
like
shots
12.
a night, not 6 doubles a night. I would be like, I would get like when I come in, I'd get Deep Eddy's lemon and iced tea mix.
Ooh,
With
yummy.
a little bit of Sprite.
Austin's
And-
own
yeah.
Deep Eddy vodka.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. 'Cause Tito's isn't good anymore. But anyway, so but then the bartender liked it because I'm a good tipper. So now I have to tip him for water.
Do you really?
Well, because I'm a terrible drinker.
How much do you tip for water?
I usually give them 5 or 10.
Well,
They're trying to
That's-
make a living.
Yeah, that's very kind
You know,
of you.
I mean, I'm coming to their bar and I'm hanging out and taking up a spot, you know, and I just feel like that's the deal. Is like, how can you promote not drinking in a bar? You just fucking tip good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just say it's not for me. I envy people that can handle their liquor. I
Right.
really do.
Well, maybe at some point you can.
I thought so this time. I thought I was.
Oh.
I had been completely convinced that there was a day in my life I could drink and just be teetotaler, but no, I straight up vodka. So how can I ever? Beer is like a sieve. I hate that stuff.
It's like a what?
Well, see, I was at the Worst Fest in New Braunfels. and
Yeah, you're always talking about New Braunfels.
New
Are you
Braunfels.
from there?
No, that's where I paroled to.
Oh.
I paroled to a Unitarian Universalist congregation that was writing me letters and visiting me for several years before I made parole. And I never was in New Braunfels, but I was an honorary member of the congregation. And,
Are you a Unitarian?
I'm a Unitarian Universalist, which means I don't care what
Be
you
careful
are, we just love you
about
anyway.
God. Be careful with that.
Well, there's every single state and every single
Shit.
interpretation is different. So what is your interpretation to give you
Huh?
that warning? What do you think that...
I'm just saying, be careful. I don't really know what y'all believe in.
Well, see,
A
we all believe in
Unitarian?
we all believe in our own thing, and we love each other for whatever you believe in. Whatever everyone believes in, we love you still.
Okay,
we,
well,
we
fair
don't want to
enough.
define beliefs. We're afraid to be wrong and not make it.
But you have to define beliefs.
Well, I believe that I know the Bible inside, outside, and upside down more than most Christians do because I read it more than once from page 1 to the end.
You probably had a lot of time in prison. Were you reading about it? Or did you read it in prison?
Let me start over. I was in the middle of saying jail, and then we were going to go to prison. So that's what happened. That's what happened, William. You brought me to back where we were. When I found out that I was going to get some time for being arrested for the first time at $20 rock, I have three $20 rock arrests $60 worth of cocaine. I ended up with 20 years, an enhancement.
Gosh,
That's insane.
I was once locked up.
That's
I
a
had
long
two
time.
twos running together, and I was pregnant with my son, who's now 31.
is that
and
one
I
of the
got out.
guys who I met?
Yes, and when I got out, I tried really doing well, and I was with their dad, pretending again. And
Were you working somewhere?
Actually, I was doing pretty good, but not really. I'm a really my addiction is like a whole different person. I'm a very honest, truthful person that can't lie for shit when I'm straight. But when I'm doing drugs, I don't tell the truth at all.
Yeah, you got mad at me when I tried to get the microphone out of your hand. Remember when you got all mad at me? That scared me when you were mad
I
at
handed
me.
it back to you, and then the second time I took it.
Yeah, you took it, and then
Were you sober then?
No, I was really. I didn't know he was going to call me on stage, and I just.
I
took
could
my
smell the
last-
liquor
I go,
on
oh
your
my
breath."
God, there's no more buckets, so I'm going to take a double shot.
Oh, wow.
And then he pulls me on stage.
And then
And
I
I was
smelled the
so-
vodka on her breath, and that scared me. I was like,
And
oh
I
my
go-
God, Amy, something's going on
And
here.
the buzz hit me on the stage. Because when you get on
Oh, I
that
bet.
stage, if you're straight, you get high on stage.
Oh.
It's like, I don't know if it's because in my mind it works constantly. And I'm thinking, oh, the people that are going to see me, that are my kids are going to watch it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Did you rewatch it sober?
Well, actually, the night that I went on again,
Yeah.
I listened to it after 10 o'clock because, you can't hear it. Because I didn't know you could hear it on the morning podcast on Sunday. But that's even better to hear it. But I didn't know. I usually wait till I unlock my phone after the show's over. So as soon as I went out front, I went to me and I heard my voice and I turned off the phone. I almost cried.
How come?
Because I sounded like a stupid drunk person, not a serious person about my comedy.
Oh, wow.
I love my comedy.
Yeah.
I love that I can sit here and tell you that I had a rock in my mouth and I turned into a plumber and I was a crackhead and know that
I wish I could have seen that. That would have been
No,
fun.
you wouldn't have
seeing
liked that girl. She was a piece of shit. She deserved
I
it.
agree. I don't know. It
See, but
almost
that's
scares
where,
me.
Amy, honestly, that's where I just disagree with you. I don't think you deserve to go to prison. I think
Not
that
that
you're
long, but-
a perfect example of the failed drug war. Somebody who is buying $20 crack rocks shouldn't be sent to prison because that's what fucks up your life is going to prison, not the crack. You can go to rehab and get off the crack, but if you go to prison, now you have a felony record, now you can't get a job, and that snowballs on you, and you didn't. Prison should be for violence. Violent offenders should be in prison.
Yes.
Non-violent people should be dealt with in a way that helps them because they're only hurting themselves. They're not hurting anybody else.
Hold on. Are you agreeing with this, Amy? I heard you say.
Yeah.
I was brought up very, very loving, and I had never met anyone that went to prison except for the people I was buying drugs from. And there was a time when crack was out there on the streets in Dallas where I got hit with a hammer in my knee one time by a kid that was only like 12 because his mother
Why?
was trying to get it because they were trying to rob me. I mean, I've always been white, but I always went to black neighborhoods not knowing that I was in danger. I never felt danger.
Yeah.
And I always had cute sports cars. I used to drive. To
And you
get
drove
crack
fast.
in
Yeah.
a 1976 silver anniversary special Corvette, And I used to let the drug dealer drive.
Where were you getting all these cars?
I had a couple given as tips when I was a stripper.
Oh, really?
What?
You must have been a pretty good stripper.
That's
Tips?
a pretty good tip.
Cars as tips?
I'll go back to when they had reel-to-reel tapes and we used to do shows.
How long were you a
I was a
stripper?
burlesque. No, we're getting all over the place, William. We're going to have to segment this. we still haven't gotten from jail to prison yet. Because I'm
She's
going to
right.
sound very scattered. And I don't want to sound scattered.
You
because
don't sound
That's
No, you
why,
don't
like,
sound
You sound
scattered.
great.
That's why when I do jokes, I try to make them short and then I leave out the most important part. Like sometimes I get off the stage and people go, "Why were you in prison? How many people did you kill?" And I go, I always make it a point to say $20 worth of crack and a
Yeah.
really bad lawyer. And I fainted in court when I was sentenced because I thought that it was President's Day weekend, and the cab driver told me the courts were closed. But I said, no, it says it right here. I have to be there. So I showed up to court late, and I almost got revoked from my bond. But I didn't expect 20 years. Someone had to clean out my apartment. I thought I was going to get
Yeah, what do you
probation.
do with the
I
stuff in your
fainted,
apartment?
and I fainted.
And it starts when they
Yeah, they
sentence
take you to jail, and you're just starting your time. And I didn't pull. Okay, so now let's get to the.
Years.
Yeah.
I
That's
couldn't.
insane.
when he said that, I just remember fainting.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I did. Because he goes, open plea. And open plea, by the way, my lawyer didn't tell me what that meant. Because they had mentioned probation or 5 years. And it was an enhancement. And he goes, well, let's let the judge sentence you. And they didn't tell me that meant he could decide. Well, they were talking about, the judge was talking about going fishing, and they were all talking and just everything with
they
the
don't give a
guys, you know.
fuck.
And here, what's he? Oh. And it's funny because my kids lived in the Colony, Texas. And that's a real town, but they thought I meant like they lived in some colony somewhere and I was some vagrant or something. But I had a place.
Gosh.
I had a life. No matter how bad I did on crack, I had a lot of sugar daddies.
Did you really?
And back then that was a real thing because Viagra hadn't come out yet.
But you needed you didn't need prison. You needed rehab.
I needed help.
You needed help.
I needed help.
And prison is not going to be help. Prison is going to ruin your life.
Well,
and you're just a shining example of how terrible the drug war was in the 80s and 90s and how it failed us in every aspect.
Well, Ann Richards was running for office to regain the gubernatorial race, and Bush, of course. And that is where my book was angled upon. All of the political things I lived through.
Yeah.
Without understanding politics.
Yeah, nobody wanted to be
Living
soft
politics.
on crime.
Well, the thing is, Ann Richards was actually building rehab places that were not fit for long-term time. Well, when Bush took over office, people actually did long-term time in these facilities that she financed through her governorship. And he did not see them as anything but a place to house more people because the population grew 500%, especially for women. So people actually died in some of these facilities that were unfit ventilation-wise and personal-wise. And some of them were, my mind is telling me to say, tell them about VitaPro.
What happened with VitaPro?
You ever heard of VitaPro?
Never.
What is
It was
it?
a feed being fed to us during that time where we couldn't
A
even read about
feed?
it. It was, I'm so bad with names, but there was Wayne Justice or somebody that was, he was big time in the TDC.
What's TDC?
Texas Department of Corrections.
Justice.
Oh,
he
whoa.
was like really big in it, and he got some kind of contract with some kind of feed stuff that came on a cattle car from Canada, and they were putting it in our noodles and stuff, saying it was meat, but it was a meat supplement for animals. And people were dying of high blood pressure and stroke from these facilities that didn't have air conditioning. And just think, and so the Texas Monthly magazine,
taste?
if you can get old Texas Monthly magazines, which I keep saying I'm going to do for my book research, but I have the real writing letters to people and telling them what I was living through. Because you couldn't, my subscription was completely stopped because they were the only ones reporting the truth.
Wait, how did the stuff taste?
It was like, it tasted like chicken or beef. It was
So
flavored.
it's pretty good?
And it was a flavor. It was sort of like, you know those flavor packets you get in ramen noodles?
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like that, but crystallized bigger.
Oh my gosh.
And it was literally for animals, but being fed to people. And they were dying.
Did you get pretty good at like making food in
I
prison
got
from
really
random
good
stuff?
at writing pen pals and getting money in to
Did
buy
you have
my own
pen
shit.
pals?
Oh, hell yeah. Until
we watched
was
a
it
show
dudes?
called Love After Lockup where
I have
people.
seen
We love After Lockup. You could have been on it if they shot it in the 90s.
Yep.
I actually did move to New Braunfels behind pen pals.
Love it.
I found that through Bible errancy, the Unitarian thing, I didn't know what I was because I was raised with all these religions and whatever was convenient church, and I read the Bible. But I knew that some churches could take a little piece of this Bible, a little piece of that Bible, the same Bible, and interpret it totally different, and they would be right if they segmented it. But if they started from page 1 all the way through, it didn't even mean the same thing at all.
Yeah.
So then I read the Quran. And then I read the Mormon Bible. And some guy
you
named
read them all.
Joseph Smith wrote that shit. And my name was Smith in prison. Big giveaway.
Whoa.
It was legally
Big
Smith because
giveaway.
I didn't get my ID changed. That's why people can't find me under Oppie, so fuck it. Anyway, but
So your real last name is Smith?
my married name was at the time, and I didn't get my ID changed, but I was divorced. So,
How many times have you been married?
3.
3?
Third time's the charm.
Yeah, third time's a charm.
Is your husband still mad at William?
He never was.
Oh, good.
Good. I was
He was-
scared because
no,
I saw
he was
Joe
more-
sent me a picture of him, and then
No.
I was scared he was going to come after me. He looked like an intense man.
He was more upset with me not having more boundaries,
Yeah.
and then that.
Well, what's he going to think about this?
Well, I told him I was coming here. He sent you a gift.
What did he say?
Did you open it?
What's
Get
the
him a
gift?
gift?
He said, what should I get him? And I talked to him for a while about you because
Did he really say that? This
He
is
told
really
me
from
to
your
send
husband?
the one big thing. That's what he told me to give you because he said he loves me and he wants you to learn how to love this.
Let's see what.
Uh-oh.
What is
This
it?
is exciting.
Oh my gosh, Amy!
It's one of his favorite things in life besides me. He actually makes his own pickles.
Does he really?
Yes, he loves.
Well, this
hot
is
pickles.
really
But he
sweet.
said, "How can he not like pickles?"
And it's so funny. He does like pickles, and I think on Kill
Yeah, I was
Tony he
lying.
lied and said he didn't.
Oh, really? That's a premise. I love that.
Everyone got mad at you when you said you didn't
Oh,
like
yeah,
pickles
he
on
turned
your
off the
sandwich.
They did get
And the
mad.
other thing is from me. It's
What
a
is-
special. It's a special pharmaceutically made CBD drops for your anxiety you might have since you don't drink anymore.
So this is
It helps
acid. This is the acid
under
we
your
were talking
tongue.
Yeah,
about
man.
earlier.
We're
Yeah,
gonna get
it doesn't-
freaky. We're gonna soak those pickles in LSD and get
Yeah, do
weird.
that.
Yeah, Grant, do you want in?
Maybe.
I can't really
I'm so
hear
afraid
him.
of
so-
LSD.
He's in.
Wait, yeah. Did you ever do LSD or
well,
just
see-
mainly crack?
The thing is, crack would make me where I could tolerate myself because it would bring me down. Because I've always been hyper like this. I just had to say, I don't care if you don't like me, just stay away from me if you don't, because I love me. I had to
Yeah.
get to that. I got to that in prison by learning how to masturbate and stuff like that.
Woo! Teach me.
I would have never.
I think it's a
masturbated.
different process.
Teach me.
actually.
Well, I can tell you, I honestly learned, I always could crochet, but I learned how to crochet better in prison, and I never masturbated before, and I learned how, and one time crocheting.
So
and
what does the
masturbation-
crocheting have to do with the masturbation?
Well, something to do. I mean, keep yourself occupied because
Oh,
other than that, it's gossip and fake relationships. Because I mean,
Did
I
you have
love
a
women. I
girlfriend?
mean, I'm bisexual, but
Oh, really?
I don't even if. I mean, they didn't have a safe room to have sex in. So who wants to get in trouble for having something like sex? I mean,
Yeah, probably a lot of gossip in the women's wing of the prison.
Just a bunch of cackling felons.
so from
Yeah.
jail, we're going to prison.
Right.
Jails are so different. Where one weekend, I was in. You have to look at South Lake, that show about South Lake because it's new. But I stayed in South Lake jail. It had you could reach through the bars to the coin machine to buy soda while you're in
Are
jail.
you drinking a bunch of sodas?
Yeah, I was waiting for them to come get me. I had to sit out.
What kind?
Then I had to go to Farmer's Branch. I don't remember. This was
Yeah.
way before prison. I'm surprised I remember I even went to jail. But
That's kind of sweet. You stick your arms out there with your quarters and get little
there was
drinks.
guys next door. You could, Anyway, but
Wait, what about guys next door?
they only had 2 cells, and there were guys in one cell, and the girls in.
oh.
I'm sure it's a bigger jail now. I mean, that was just a drive-through town. Now it's a big enough town to be on CSNBC.
I was wondering what you were about to say. It's
Well, there's
big
a
enough
big
to
controversy
be.
about them taking stuff out of their school books because they're prejudiced there or something.
Oh gosh.
So,
Oh gosh.
so I go to the jail, back to the cell after I'm getting the 20 years, after I fainted. And the girls in there, they couldn't believe I got 20 years. They didn't.
Did you get along with them when you got in there?
I had only ever done time. I was pregnant with my oldest son. When I did the other time, I did 8 months, and they let me out the week I was due. That's Texas. And I made good with that, and then I went back to crack and got pregnant again. So, it's
Same
I
baby
forgave
daddy?
myself, so I don't give a shit who knows. But in the
Yeah,
meantime,
yeah.
yeah. Well, yes, same baby's daddy. Same baby's daddy. Very wonderful.
Yeah, because
man.
your sons looked real similar.
Well, the thing is, they definitely have the same daddy, and he's definitely still my very good friend, but he's not my husband at this time. He was my common law husband in prison, and we're still very good friends, but I never wanted to live in Dallas. I have a sign on my house that says life is too short to live in Dallas.
What was your beef with Dallas? Just all the speeding tickets
The
and all
memories.
those? Yeah.
And also it grew too big, and New Braunfels is growing too big already since I've been here. I've been out for 17 years come January.
Oh, cool.
So it's like I have a good memory, don't I?
You do. Almost 17 years.
Yeah. I remember the day I pulled chain.
What does that mean?
When they take you down to the prison, and I had my baby already, and
Yeah.
let's see, I pulled chain, and my son was born in May, and I went to prison in July. And I had somebody pay extra to get me on the chain because what had happened, and this is a whole nother thing, just like the VitaPro.
Yeah, I don't know about the chain. What do you mean? You
Okay,
got somebody
pulling
to
chain
put you
means
on
your
the
number.
chain.
I said this on one of the episodes on Kill Tony, that your number comes up and it's your time to go to prison. That they're accepting you down there. Okay. Sidebar. This is important stuff. You already know about this, I think, that the prisons got full in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And they exasperated all of the jails in the counties. Well, the counties had lawsuits with many states across the nation, Hawaii, many states, and they were also getting full. But Texas was selling beds in their county jails that they had just lost a lawsuit over to get them out of there and take them to state prison.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are people still to this day, probably in the middle of lawsuits, that were woken up in the middle of the night in states like Hawaii and Massachusetts, because I read all these things in the prison newspapers, where they would just say, "Hey, leave your." I mean, they'd have like wedding rings left behind in their state jail, in their county jail, and they'd bring them to county jails, calling them state prisoners in Texas, places where they weren't even supposed to be.
I'd rather be in a jail in Hawaii.
But they're handcuffed together. Yeah, they're handcuffed together
Would
and
you?
put on an airplane. Oh, fuck yeah! I wouldn't want to even think of jail.
But you could only look outside.
Yeah, it
Well,
seems like that'd be the
anyway,
worst place
Or maybe
to be
that
in
would
jail.
be a bad
Yeah,
place
you want
to
to go
go.
to jail. It's like North Dakota, where you look outside and you're like, I'm actually glad I'm in here. Look
Yeah,
at it out
Hawaii
there.
might
It's
actually
Can you
garbage
imagine
out there.
being sent to a Texas jail where they
No.
don't even want Texas prisoners to be?
Yeah.
And these people have already been eradicated down to pulling chain. It's just so anyway. That's a big can of worms, William. And there is so much fact to that set up that
Did you make friends from other places who were flown in?
they did not come to the prisons. They did the state. They did. Okay, what happened is
Yeah, I was getting
The
confused
county-
now
okay,
between the
each-
prisons and jails.
each
I'm a little
Texas
confused now.
county that had lost the lawsuit from the state sued all counties of Texas for overpopulating where I was already sentenced, so I belonged to the state, not the county anymore. But the county was feeding me. Get it? I'm just one person, so I can only tell you about me. But we're talk about this in thousands. So the state of Texas was being sued by the counties because they weren't paying for my meals because I was a state prisoner still in the county and they didn't bring me there yet. You got it? So that's multiplied all across the state. But in the meantime, the state of Texas is making contracts with other states to give the county beds away that they already aren't even supposed to be using for their own state prisoners.
Gosh.
So
Did
let's
you
leave it
drink
at
a
that.
bunch of, yeah, I want to talk about your sugar daddies or something. I'm a
I know,
little
this is
confused. No, yeah, did you ever drink hooch or anything in jail? What were you
I
making?
tried hooch once and it just makes you throw up. I mean, I'm like a Puritan. I mean, even Deep Eddies is not as distilled as I'd like it to be because there's a distillery in San Antonio that I do shows at, and it's been twice I've been down there sober, and it's hard as fuck not to drink that stuff.
What kind of
That guy makes
snacks
it.
would you get?
Well, ramen noodles is a big deal.
That's popular.
Do you still like ramen noodles?
I
or
made
did you ever?
cheesecakes out of cool-offs and powdered milk, and I mean, you learn how to
What
make
are
spreads.
cool-offs?
Cool-offs, they don't sell them anymore. I tried to get some since I've been out, and they took the contract away from Texas. So yeah, they're just a lemon flavor or a peach flavor or whatever. And
What, cookie?
no, it's for water. You know, the powder, and then you add it with powdered milk, and you whip it with, and you can make cream like a cheesecake.
Cool.
And you can add Butterfingers as a crust, graham crackers. But ingenuity is definitely.
Grant
foreign.
loves Butterfingers.
Big
Yep.
fan.
Big.
This is one of the reasons why people think I'm nuts, because every time I try to explain something, it's so deep that.
No.
I'll just say this, Amy. We've seen you on Kill Tony, and a couple of the appearances have been a little frantic, and you're excited and you're excitable, but you're always super sweet.
Always.
But hearing your story, it makes you seem more sane than I thought you were.
Oh, great.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it is a big story, and you kind of jump around a little bit. But the fact is that, in my opinion, that what you went through, I think you have recovered remarkably from what the state of Texas did to you. I think what the state of Texas did to you was a crime.
If it was only me, I don't mean to bother you.
Yeah,
I please know that I'm defensive about any possibility of someone thinking I think of a victim. I do not.
I don't.
But I do feel that if it was just me, it would have been really a criminal thing. But that's how it went. People did not understand addiction nearly like they do now.
Well, even if they did, they didn't give a shit. A lot of people got really, really rich by abusing and treating people who needed help in a way that they were not interested in helping them at all. They were interested in helping themselves. They're getting contracts with VitaPro. They're, they're running for office on a I'm tough on crime. I've locked up more people than the last. I mean,
whether they deserve it or not.
Right. And whole families are ruined because of it, because you got 20 years and your kids are being born and you don't even get to see your kids. That's fucking crazy.
Well, there was a girl one time came from another state county jail when I was in a holdover from a hospital visit. And she had been gone from the state for some years, had a life. She was up in New York and she thought she finished her parole. And she got stopped for a traffic thing. Oh, you have a warrant in Texas. She was in her 8th month of pregnancy. Her doctor advised against it. They made her fly back. She lost the baby on the plane.
Oh, my God.
And I'm in the cell next to this woman who lost her baby because the state wanted 60 days of her thing 8 years later. I mean, I have that written in notes. I mean, I would go through, I have boxes and boxes of letters and notes from several people I wrote that I was really writing this big book. It turned into a movie. It turned into an episode. But anyway, I did want to say one really, a whole lot of things that I can, my mind just spins when I go there.
That's all right. Relax. You're doing great. You've got a whole bag of goodies here, too.
I really wanted to keep it to a minimal, but.
Here, what do you have in your...
I do dumb stuff a lot. Okay, I do some dumb stuff. I need a new radio in my car, and it's $500, and I have $500. But I don't think it's fair that it should cost $500 to get the screen fixed when everything works but the screen. Why can't you just make a new screen? But I spent over $500
Is that a new joke you're working on?
No, I've only worked...
Screen rant.
This is how cheap I am. I spent over $500 on the sewing machine I've used twice. I had to have it, though.
Why? Do you sew stuff?
Yeah, I needed my... Wrinkle Bell costume.
Ooh.
Let's not talk about
Here,
that.
do you have some... I think the people want to see your puppet show that you can do.
This is the male puppet that goes with the female puppet that everyone's already seen.
Yeah.
That is William Montgomery, and this is Miss Amy O.
Can we do it where they're kissing each other or something? I didn't know you were a stripper and you had these sugar daddies buying you cars.
Well, see, the thing
Oh, my gosh. I didn't know all that.
I was in Washington, D.C. one time, and this guy moved to Argentina, and he gave me the title to his car.
Did you make those?
Yes, in prison.
No, you made these in prison?
I made this after prison to wear to the Worst Fest, because in New Braunfels they have...
That's adorable.
It's not only a hat. It's
Did you wear it?
A puppet.
You can also hide crack in it.
Yeah, right. You could probably hide a bunch of rocks in the bill of that.
But I didn't wear it this year.
I love it.
And then I got the kids. This is Cameron, Jacob, and Kendon Charles. That's their names.
Cameron, Jacob, and what?
And Kendon Charles.
Kendon Charles.
And
cool.
they used to wear them and fight with them, I hear, when they were riding to see me. It was long drives.
Was that when you were blonde?
Blonde most of my life. Yeah.
Well, this is a fun color you have now.
And there's Kermit. I made all of the Sesame Street characters.
Let's not call him Kermit. We don't want to get sued. That's Carmit.
It's a replica.
That's Carmit the Frog.
It's a replica.
Close one.
But I made all of the Sesame Street characters.
Can you do a Kermit impression?
Charlie hard. Charlie hard to do my voice. I don't know.
You're actually pretty good at that.
Yeah, you're not moving your mouth at all.
It's just the hearing part. Yes, I can do that.
Keep going.
Yeah.
I love green. It's the green screen. I'm famous.
I don't know how you do that without moving your mouth at all.
I did Charlie McCarthy as a kid. I always did that, but.
Who's Charlie McCarthy?
Now, see, he wore a top hat and he had a little eye thing.
William, I want to see, now you've seen Amy O do it. Let's see if you can, let's see your ventriloquism skills.
My glasses back on.
Can you?
Hello. Amy.
The beard helps.
Hello, Amy. Yeah, it kind of already covers my face. Do you think it does help? Can you tell that my mouth is...
Yeah.
Amy, can you tell that my mouth
You don't have his mouth.
You gotta do the.
You gotta
I know.
fix your thumb. So yeah, now you
There
have a
you
mouth.
go. There you
Now you
go.
can make him have more expression.
Hey, man. Can you tell that my mouth is big? Amy. Hey, what's your name?
Hi.
What's your name?
You're cute.
I think you're pretty cute.
You want to make some babies together?
What, do you want to have sex or something?
Yeah.
Where can we go?
We already got a kid.
Hey, that's not my kid.
Yes, it is.
That's not my kid. What do you mean that's my kid?
He looks just like you.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
He is a little round, isn't he?
What does that mean?
Well, I like black guys.
God.
I thought you knew. Red's not my favorite color.
Yeah, okay, I get it. Okay.
Do we need our frog back, the green guy, so we can live with
Yeah, where's the green guy? Where is he? Hey, there he is. Who's this guy?
Oh, God.
Is this your boyfriend?
I lived in a storage room for 8 years.
Yikes! Yikes!
I kind of smell musty.
I smell that on you.
I think she's kind of crusty.
She's really crusty.
You need some teeth.
I don't get it.
Here, you want a frog? There's another frog. This is a different.
Oh my gosh, that is a different. It's a different race.
The boys would get jealous if they had the same thing. So, yeah.
My hernia popped out during that.
I
had to hold it in.
Yeah, that was pretty
I had
good,
to
Amy.
hold it in.
This
What is that thing
What's
for?
that?
See, Tony said it was.
What did he say it was?
He said,
Yeah.
"Is that what you teach kids?"
Is that what you
I
what?
said yes.
Is that what you what?
Pervert, teach young children, actually music, but in the drum
Oh.
circle. But he didn't let me finish. He never lets me finish. Tony interrupts me.
Oh
so
gosh.
much.
Yeah.
If Tony watches this, can I say I noticed something.
What?
When Supergirl forgot her lines because I thought that it was going to be another thing where William was going to pull me up there, but instead Hans pulls me first, and it was a magical bucket.
Yeah, I
It
was
not-
jealous
it was-
about that.
Yeah, well,
I didn't like that.
But then he didn't mention me. I'm sitting there. But,
Yeah, I didn't like that.
But here's what got to me that night.
What got to you that night?
Tony asked me specifically about my sex life. So
Yeah?
I'm trying to round it off to a joke I know because I'm not, because I already told everybody that masturbation is the only thing I learned how to do best in prison, and it's kept me through all this, It keeps me laughing. It keeps me self-sufficient.
Do you ever do any
And the
videos or anything for people to show them how to do it?
I probably should, but I hate porn. But I have the best porn in my head that's not been
You
recorded.
could use the ventriloquist dummies.
I
on
know.
them, and then it wouldn't be.
But anyway, he also then, when I explained it, he said the audience was sick. But he interrupted me 3 times because the joke's not sick. The way I calmly tell you how I did it, it's funny.
Will you show me on this? On
How do I make
Do you mind
Not how
showing
I
me?
masturbate, how I made a dildo guy. Oh, I got the wrong
You have a
person.
dildo guy?
I was telling him. I was telling Tony how I made the dildos in prison, and then I was
How do
telling
you
him-
make
Yeah.
I
them?
crocheted these dick warmers for Christmas presents one year, and I ended up in
What?
segregation behind them because they said they were a phallic thing, and they looked kind of, they were kind of like a cylinder, and you could put a dick in it to send home to someone that had one, because no one I was
What's
locked
that
up
for?
that
It
had
keeps your
one.
thing warm.
And it had little ball warmers, and they had a drawstring, and I was making food money,
And
That's
you
what
got in
do.
trouble?
Well,
That's
they
funny
found them,
you're-
and they said that they never found my real dildo, but they thought that they were phallic. So I got in trouble. A code 20, a sexual
20.
item. I did seg time for making dick
A
warmers.
sexual
Yeah.
item.
Was somebody asking you for the dick warmers,
Well,
or
I
were
had
you
a
just
whole back
making
order,
them?
and some of them were officers that were cool, even.
Oh,
There were
really?
officers sometimes that were cool, but they would never defend you if you get caught.
Wait, so you were making the dildos out of this material?
Dick warmers.
Well, they were dick warmers. The dildo. Okay, here's the
How'd
joke.
you do the dildo?
You want me to do my joke?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, here's the joke. I say, how do you masturbate in prison?
How do you masturbate in prison?
Very quietly, or it becomes a gangbang. You don't want anyone to see it. You want to do it yourself. So here's how you do it yourself. You get the little tube of toothpaste state gives you for free. That's tax dollars money, you know, tax dollars.
Yeah.
So then you take that little tube of toothpaste just for the form, and you put some tissue around it just for the shape. And then you take the rubber gloves. They're real sanitizing, you know. You take one finger at a time and stretch it on there. And then that's your tax dollars at work, guys. Hey,
Love it.
a free dildo. Thank you. All those years you paid for my free dildo.
And then it's, hey, Amy, have you seen my toothpaste around here anywhere? I had a new tube of toothpaste. I can't find it anywhere.
Yeah, Amy, where's my rubber glove?
Yeah.
Well,
What do you do with
you
that?
actually take the rubber gloves out of the trash can because they're contraband. And the actual fact of that, I never made a dildo like that. But there's this man that I put it in my notes to talk about Mr. Wacko, W-A-C-K-O. Now, Mr. Wacko, that was his real name, an officer.
Nuh-uh.
From the time I started doing time, which I did 6 weeks short of 13 years, he was going up through the system. And he'd go from one unit, he'd be in another unit. And he always would look at me really weird. And he'd look at me, and I look at him, and he had these really weird skin ticks. And I knew he was from Pennsylvania. But it ended up
Why'd you know he's from Pennsylvania? Because of the skin things?
No, but those are two facts that I knew about him, but I didn't put it together till one day I was playing Scrabble. I played Scrabble a lot. I'm a Scrabble champion. And he was standing around listening to me talk, and he's still having that curious look after years. And this girl goes, where did you live before? I said, I used to live in Tampa, Florida. And he goes, Tanga Lounge. Tanga Lounge. I know you from the Tanga Lounge.
Oh, my
He started
gosh.
freaking out.
Was that where you were?
I used to give him lap dances at the Tanga Lounge.
Oh, my
and here
gosh.
he was a Texas. He was retired from the military. And because he was out there on the military base back then in those days in the 80s. And he knew me from prison.
From
He
the
knew me.
Tango Lounge.
It took him years to recognize who I was.
How many lap dances
And he
did you
told
give?
me about watching girls masturbate with their toothpaste. So I made that joke up from him, from Mr. Wacko. But that's too long of a joke too to make about how
No,
I
it's
tried
not.
I tried to
Jokes
do
are
it the
long.
Creek in the Cave one time on a crazy storytelling thing, and I ended up someone got COVID and they never called me back. But anyway.
Oh God.
But it's a really good story.
How many lap dances do you think you gave in your?
I hated doing them because
How many did you give? Hundreds, thousands?
Not really, because I was like, and when they started them, I mean, I was way pre-Viagra and stuff, you know, because I would never want to do lap dances with guys if they, you know,
Their thing was
I
hard.
mean, I don't. It would see. I like the 6. There was a 3-foot ordinance where you had to hold your costume out. You could only show your tits or your bottom at one time. It was the ordinances in Pinellas County.
What kind of costume were you wearing?
Well, usually you just drape a scarf around you and just let it fall and bring it up and cover your tits. And you just get creative and you do fun music.
Cool.
And, do a show, and then you catch all the money because they had to throw it. So they roll them up. And the best thing is when you got to pay your rent, I had this big bag of bills that were rolled up. And sometimes there would be hundreds in there.
Nice.
50s,
Cool.
20s, 30, you know, just mostly ones, but a lot of fun, you know. And I made so much money. Why not do crack? You know, the state,
Yeah.
that's
I mean, I have heard
I
it's
didn't
really
know.
fun.
I really
Sounds like it's too fun. Too much fun.
Well, I never knew how to manage my money. If I had a dime for every dollar I wasted,
yeah.
That proves it right
a
there.
couple other studios.
If I traded all my dollars for dimes, you know, I never was very good
That's
with
the
money.
stripping setting on one of my favorite shows. This Is Not Happening. I love that show.
Good job. We need to tell Grant good job.
That looks just like that.
You should tell Grant good
Grant,
job.
great job.
Great
Oh,
job,
thanks.
Grant.
Thank you.
So am I too scattered?
Cool. No,
Oh,
I
you're
think
fantastic.
Yeah, I think
we
it was
love
perfect.
You, Amy.
This is me
that was
really,
great.
like,
that was a
straight.
lot of fun.
Except for
And
this.
you're right. You're right, Brett. I don't know how I'd be after 20 years in fucking prison.
Well,
I'm already kind of a
For
crazy person.
speeding.
I don't know how
No,
I would
the
be
prison,
after.
No, you still didn't get to the part where it's $20 of the crack. The night I got
had the
arrested,
crack.
I went across.
Yeah.
I woke up
forgot.
from a binge. I ran across the street. I had a $20 bill. I went to the dope house, and apparently he'd been arrested because the police were sitting in there in his house, but they weren't dressed like police.
That was probably a
And so-
surprise when you.
Well, no, because I buy it, and then they come down the steps like they were customers, and then when I got around the corner, they realized I was on foot. They arrested me in the front because my car was across the street at my apartments, and so I got arrested for, you know, and they were just doing that all night long, just bringing people in. But he never went to jail. He said, "Yeah, you can take my customers," because it makes the numbers go up because it made Ann Richards lose office, and
Mm-hmm.
So you
That's
could
how
just,
they did it. The jails were just packed full of people that were just needing help.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that I did some criminal things. I mean, but I felt like this. You know, if you got robbed by a crackhead, you fucking deserved it.
Yeah. Here, Amy, let's get a puppet. I think we should
We should tell these. Well,
say
these-
goodbye with the puppets, maybe.
Well, we need to go already. Seems
Yeah,
like the
we-
quickest time in the world.
Well, I don't know.
was
You've been
fun.
talking for 2 hours. It's been 2 hours. I don't know what you're...
I wanted you to sign
Holy
this for me
shit.
next to all these. I've been getting all these people to sign it. Ron White almost signed it the other night, but he was real busy by the time. He said he was going to. And
Did he also recognize you from a strip club?
Did? No, he didn't.
That'd have been funny.
Well, I think that Ron was coming up the same years as I was coming up. We're about the same age. So
maybe y'all cross paths at some point.
well, I told him that I have every single one of his sets memorized
Whoa.
because my husband.
That was probably a weird thing for him to hear.
No, it's not the first time he's heard it. I mean, I didn't call him tater salad or anything, but
Yeah, that's...
but people do that, I'm sure. But, no, my husband loves Ron White, and he plays him over and over again, and I know everything he's ever done.
Cool. All right. Well,
We want to do.
That's a sweet background.
So we're gonna do these.
yeah, look at that background.
did
Hey. So nice for you to join us today. Thank you so much.
To be continued. To be continued.
To be continued. You can... We'll do it again.
We need to figure out how Amy got to prison, and she keeps on getting sidetracked.
And she
We're
will...
gonna get a script out next time, so she doesn't feel like she's undone.
I think you need to start filming the videos of you masturbating. You could do an OnlyFans.
I thought it
only
would be
people make money
OnlyFans.
do
I thought I
OnlyFans.
learned
Get
how
an
to
OnlyFans.
squirt.
Yeah, but
Like,
Kill Tony.
For my,
You
for my
learned how to squirt?
I thought I did. Now this is how it is. Okay.
What do you
this
mean
is
you
your
thought you learned
future.
how to squirt?
This is your future. I just turned 62 last Monday.
Yeah?
Woo, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Didn't think
Happy
I'd make it
birthday.
this far.
You're looking good for 62.
Thank you. And the thing about being 62 is I thought I learned how to squirt because I just really wanted to I was going
To
to
squirt.
I was doing a show and
You
I just
just really
wanted to
wanted
make
to
sure I came before I did. So, because, I wouldn't talk about masturbation on stage if I don't actually do it, So I
Do you masturbate before you go on stage?
not at the venue before I leave my house.
Yeah, right. Not in the bathroom
one time
of the
at Laugh
venue.
Out Loud, I went in the bathroom and masturbated because I was so mad at everybody treating me like shit. I went in there and I masturbated and I didn't give a shit how they treated me. And then I did the best set ever.
That's kind of sweet that you'll go in the bathrooms and places and masturbate.
Now people are going to follow me to the bathroom.
Ooh.
But the truth is, I decided, well, it's been a while, Amy. It's time for you to really get off. So
Cool.
So I followed myself around the house the whole night. And I was just, but I'm
Fiddle
standing up
away.
because I'm doing this and that and getting this ready, and then and I finally get to the business and I'm getting down there and,
Yeah.
and I thought, oh my God, I thought I squirted, but it was incontinence.
It was TT?
It was TT.
It was TT.
It's usually what it is.
Yeah,
It was
that's
like-
what it
Usually
is.
what it
I'm like,
is.
So you did it.
You did it.
You
But
did
it
it.
is
Squirted.
TT.
No, squirting is not TT.
Oh, yeah, I've
I've been
heard
with
it's
women that
TT.
really squirt,
I think
and
it's
it's
TT.
really come. I mean,
Oh.
I thought the girl had a milk fountain down there.
A milk
I
fountain.
know, it
Yuck.
was creamy, and
God.
you know how
You know what?
it was not discharged.
You know what?
Discharge stinks.
You know what would go good with some of that? You get yourself a nice warm bowl of spaghetti and a good milk squirter.
Do you like spaghetti and milk?
That is good.
I'm lactose intolerant.
It's lactose.
No, not really.
Got a milk fountain. Yuck.
No, it's not. It's just creamy, and the thing is, there are
Creamy?
such thing as real squirters, and then there.
You've heard it here first. I've always wondered about
We'll
that.
try to get one.
I always thought it
a
was
real
pee.
squirt.
Well, the thing is,
I've never seen it creamy.
I
I've
don't
seen
doubt
it clear.
Amy. Yeah.
There is no way in the world that I'm gonna ever Google my own porn. If I ever watch porn, it's gonna be with someone that wants to watch it with me and
But
learn
yours
something.
can be educational.
Yeah,
Well,
yours can be
maybe I should
educational.
put in the search engine. What? I don't even know what porn site. I
Don't
would
you do
it.
motivational speaking? It could also be a part of
Okay.
your OnlyFans.
So I could be a
Yeah.
motivational. I could show them how to make a prison dildo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I think that's a good
Do
idea.
lots of things.
But Shane Gillis did that.
Oh.
Grant
OnlyFans
would
thing.
watch. I'm sure Grant would watch back there.
Did you
He'd
s-
probably watch some of this.
Did you see the one that Shane did about the OnlyFans? His segment
No.
on Gillis and Keeves. I watch all his Gillis and Keeves. I love Shane.
He's very funny.
He's very funny.
And anyway, he gave me that idea that
We'll have to have you back on. You can make
Yeah.
a prison
We run out of
dildo
time.
on the show.
Yeah, do you have
we
any
gotta.
final thoughts?
Any final thoughts?
My final thoughts are that you are a very interesting person, and I know that you're extremely
You're sweet. It's nice
intelligent.
to talk to you.
Well, I can tell by your jokes that you're very smart.
I wouldn't necessarily say that,
no,
but you're sweet
you
to
are
say
because
that.
you either that or you just have the most uncanny natural knack for all these years. Because I watched every single thing I could find on YouTube about you,
Always love hearing that.
and it multiplies over and over again. And I watched one from you before you had the beard.
Yeah.
Before
What do you
had-
like the beard, or should I shave it off?
I think you should trim it a little bit more. I tell my husband that, and he never does. So
Yeah, Erica. I always try to get Erica to trim it, but then
what did
I
you say?
fall asleep on the couch watching Wife Swap, so we don't do it.
Okay, I just found out you don't put toothpaste in the refrigerator. What am I supposed to do?
Is that a William joke?
That's one, and then I've changed it to Viagra.
So,
Or the
my
Viagra
toothpaste.
thing.
I just put that one there because it's one of his jokes, and I have a toothpaste joke.
That's a fun one. I honestly forgot about
Yeah.
You can
that.
keep it.
That's how long ago I
she
go
can
back.
have it.
Cool.
I've been sleeping
Yeah.
a lot because I don't talk to women when I'm awake. But when I'm asleep, I see them all.
See them all.
That's not William Montgomery.
He doesn't use those anymore. You can have them.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you can just have
No,
them.
I'm just telling him how much I study.
Okay, well, so nice for you to be here.
Thank you for being here, Amy.
Yeah, it was
we
very
love
nice.
you. We'll have you back for sure.
And
Let's go
I-
smoke some weed in the parking lot
That
after
sounds
this.
like it'll bring me right to chillness. Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Any final thoughts?
This Kill Tony book is full of ideas. And
Cool.
one of these days, I'm going to do
Can you
60
open it up?
seconds.
Show a page.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Do you write in it?
I have one. I have definitions in here from my, ageism.
Be yourself. Be yourself. I just started doing this next
Oh, this
one.
is Kiko.
Oh, yeah.
Kiko Ron White repeated that for Kiko.
Cut.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pull
that's
the plug, Grant. Pull the plug.
But I really just premises and everything. But when I asked Tony to sign it, I don't think anyone ever asked him to sign it before.
Interesting.
And I had Sarah and
Cool. All right. Well, thanks so much.
thank
It's
you
been
very
fun.
So that was something.
That's fine.
Amy, huh?
Yeah, that was great. I didn't realize she was a stripper and had the sugar daddies.
She's got a story, boy.
Yeah. I mean, she's all right. She's still a fit older lady. That's funny. I wish it'd be interesting to see a picture of her.
She
30 years
said
ago.
that she's so hyper that the crack brings her down. Like, can you imagine that? Because that's what I was thinking. Like her energy, and then she's gonna smoke crack. Like that
Totally.
must be like fireworks going off at all times.
It's like ADHD people taking Adderall.
Yeah,
I think it slows them down. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
get it. It
it
seems like it would
focuses
just be
them.
crazy.
yeah.
But yeah, she's sweet. It was nice to talk to her and her puppets. I think she's onto something with her puppets.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Might have to blur out those Kermits.
The Carmits.
Carmits.
Don't call them
Yeah,
Kermits. We'll get
yeah.
sued by the Jim Henson Corporation.
The puppet frog.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, and the masturbation videos. I wonder if she could do an OnlyFans thing. Some people like older women. I wonder if that would be like a popular deal.
She is, as
could
they
do it.
say, sitting on a gold mine.
Mm-hmm.
She is. Gosh. And it's funny, she'll masturbate in the bathrooms of the places.
And touch the
Wild.
microphones after.
Yeah, yuck. I didn't even think about that. Yuck.
She's a tough act to follow.
Ooh,
Just put
Baby,
your hands in
oh,
her
baby.
puppets.
yuck. Yeah, my hands were just in those fucking things.
I'm sure you'll be fine. That was a lot of fun,
Yeah,
you guys.
yeah.
So much fun.
I know it was. It was.
That was great.
We really need to try to maybe figure out about the
Goose.
concert. Yeah, the goose.
Let's
It'd
go.
be
No,
fun to
that's why
meet your son.
Let's do it. Let's go right
It'd be
now. The show's
interesting.
tonight. We'll go. We'll meet there. We'll do it.
Yeah, that'd be
Cool.
fun.
All
It'd be
right.
cool to meet your son. Do y'all look alike?
He's just as handsome as I am.
Perfect.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. He's all right. You'll like him.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be fun.
So, all right. Cool. Let's do it.
All right.
All right, cool.
That was fun.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of The William Montgomery Show. Send your questions, artwork, and manifestos to the William Montgomery Show at gmail.com. Leave William a voicemail at 737-471-1098. Never miss an episode of The William Montgomery Show by subscribing to The William Montgomery Show channel on YouTube and anywhere podcasts are sold. Check out William online at william.f.montgomery1 on Instagram. For more William Montgomery, check out Kill Tony on YouTube and see him live at the Vulcan Gas Company in Austin, Texas every Monday night. For more of me, Brett Erickson, check out Issues with Andy on Patreon. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at IBrettMyPants. This episode of The William Montgomery Show was recorded at Permanent Record Studios right here in the heart of Austin. The William Montgomery Show is produced by William Montgomery and Brett Erickson. The William Montgomery Show is a FannieCo production. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.
Shh, who the fuck said that? I'm trying to have fun tonight.